And welcome back to Opinion Court, which begins right now. My guest today on the far left, he's a businessman, he's a lawyer, he knows the Constitution inside out, outside in. Karanja Kabage, KK, good to see you.
Wonderful.
The man in the middle, Barack with the 2 R's, Muluka. He's a publisher, he's a journalist, he's an opinion maker, and yes, Secretary General of the Amani Party. Gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Court.
Good to see you. Happy New Year. We haven't met
this year. Welcome. By the way, if you want to send in your comments or questions, do so using the hashtag Opinion Court. You can tweet us at Karanja Kabage, at Barack M, at Koinange Jeff. Hashtag again, Opinion Court. Gentlemen, let's get to it real quick. First of all, today was the start of the vetting. NASA, conspicuously absent, and it was deliberate, let's say, but we can comment. I can start by saying, Barack, the women performed quite well. I'm talking about Margaret Kobia, Farida Karone.
Yes, I'm particularly very proud of Farida Karone. Of course, like me, she's an alumna of the School of Journalism at the University of Nairobi. And we always bear this badge here, which is our badge of honor. I just wish that the circumstances were a little different so that everybody who ought to have been there was there. And this speaks of the kinds of challenges that we must address as a country. I would have loved to say as a nation, but I do not know whether we can still talk of a nation. It's more of a country than a nation. We need to address the sense of nationhood.
Absolutely, good point. KK, your thoughts on the vetting so far, day one?
I think it was good in the sense that the candidates give a very good account of themselves generally, and I must congratulate them. But to respond to your question, which is the NASA group of the parliamentary wing did not participate. That to me was a tragedy because Parliament must discharge its mandate as provided for in the Constitution, and the shenanigans of why they didn't, it's really very sad. Because you are elected as a member of Parliament, and the mandate and the duties of Parliament are very clear in the Constitution. Boycotting such sessions of national importance does not give a very good reflection of whether one has grasped what is the role.
Yeah, Barack, that move was deliberate, right?
He cannot be allowed to get away with that. You know, that is a statement that NASA was making. It's not shenanigans, as he says. There are many ways of making statements. There's hyperbole, and I do hope that you're going to bring up the question of the swearing in a few days ago.
Definitely.
This is all a manner of communication. You are a communicator yourself, and you know that statements, pronouncements are made in different ways. And this is a statement of saying that we disapprove. If we disapprove of the whole government and the manner in which it has constituted itself, we disapprove of the whole exercise of a cabinet, and therefore we see no need to lend it credence, and so we opt to stay away.
Yeah,
Take that to be a statement.
But Barack, I guess if you were to compare this to a football game, this would be a walkover.
Certain analogies do not work. You know that as well as I do once again, that you do not compare unlike to like. You compare like to like. So this analogy about this being a walkover does not quite qualify. So we cannot look at it as a walkover because the issues that have brought us where we are remain, and there are issues that we are not going to walk over. There are issues that we must assemble around, issues that we must address if we are to walk together into the future as a nation.
Yeah. Okay. KK, Barack mentioned the swearing in a moment ago. Some critics call it a mock swearing in.
I don't know one can even, you should use the word swearing in, because it is not provided for. You see, there's something that we must come to terms with. Any civilized nation conducts itself according to norms, according to constitutional prerequisites, according to the laws of the land. Now, the moment you operate outside those norms, those constitutional imperatives, then you cannot even try to bring the word swearing in into that kind of
What
an
do you want to call it?
exercise.
What do you want to call it, KK?
It is simply playing with the minds of a people that have been misled to believe that it has any meaning or any consequence. And that's very, very sad to me.
Yeah.
And I, no wonder, you know, 3 of the 4 principles just did not appear.
Yeah. Barack, I'm sure you have your opinion.
Yes, there are extenuating factors that explain the reasons why the other 3 were not there, and that should not be used to kind of rubbish that exercise. Once again, I recognize that we are talking to a lawyer who is caught up in the quagmire of legalisms, and therefore he fails to appreciate the symbolic significance of certain happenings. I have spoken of hyperbole, and there's such a thing as dramatized hyperbole. You know about it in poetry. You learnt about it in St. Mary's school. You went to good schools. Dramatized hyperbole. It is a rather profound way of making a statement, so that you are saying that very well you may have been sworn in using the legalisms, the instruments, and all that, and you may think that you can walk on and forget about us and our grievances. But we put it to you that there is this entire population here. If you have christened me a Mugoroki, I'm not a Mugoroki as you would want to believe. We have got real issues, and we are making a statement, a pronouncement here that you need to listen to us. We need to sit down and discuss the past that this country has come to and where we would like to take it. So don't dismiss it. Take the significance of the event as a statement that has been dramatized.
Barack, KK brought up a point. The 3 other principles were missing in action.
Extenuating circumstances, which you've been told about, that indeed they did make an effort to be there. Yes, questions were raised beforehand about the significance of this occasion, about the logistics and about other concerns. But at the very end of it all, there was a general consensus that they would all turn up.
But they didn't.
They didn't.
And they've been trying to save face since then.
It's not about saving face. It's about the reality. And the lawyers here talk about extenuation, and they are extenuating.
Barack, you're just not convincing me. You're not
extenuating
Anyway.
Circumstances. No. The next day, all the 4 principles were together.
To save face, Barack.
Which face was there to be saved? What is so difficult about making a statement, a pronouncement, and the pronouncement was made?
But there was a bit of egg. There's a bit of egg on face.
If there's egg on face, it's on the face of those who have been afraid of arresting Raila Odinga because they think that he did something that is illegal, that is treasonable, and he's by and large carrying on with these regular activities. Meanwhile, small fellows are being intimidated. Meanwhile, TV stations are being shut down. This one has just come back on air today. We must ask ourselves on whose face egg is, and egg is on the face of those who have failed to understand this communication that has been made so loudly and clearly in broad daylight in Nairobi.
KK.
This, I'm really surprised by Barack. A few days ago,
what part has surprised you?
A few days ago, he wrote a fantastic piece. But when you listen to him now, and you read the piece he wrote,
You misread.
chastising.
You misread.
Just a minute, you have your time. Talking about the three guys or the three gentlemen skipping the event. He cannot be the same person who is talking what he is talking about.
What did I write?
What did he say?
Yes, quote unquote.
He says very clearly, I want to paraphrase, he
Yes.
said that these guys were simply cowards.
That's what he said.
He did,
And just a minute.
He did not read.
Just a minute. And he said,
My goodness.
well, the point of the matter is this. I mean, I wish this was. He really said that these gentlemen have no basis of justifying their actions.
You see,
All right?
that is why we say of lawyers that they are liars. Lawyers are liars.
No,
and they don't read. This is a very scurrilous engagement with my text, which spoke very clearly about what happened.
What did you say?
And
What did you say?
We said that those...
With who? You're saying we said with who?
The royal we.
No.
Which English did they teach you?
Which?
My goodness.
What are you talking about? We said with who?
Tell him.
Anyway, please.
Tell him. Tell him.
The royal
we.
Oh,
In
we.
England, Queen's English, they speak about we. Yeah? We said. So I hope that I'm not going to have to start giving him lessons on idiom. But we said,
Yes.
yeah, now that you have understood
Yes.
what I mean by we, the royal we, we said that those who are unhappy had every justification to feel unhappy because they were not adequately seized of the matters. We do not know what exactly transpired at some point on Monday morning when the other three principals were waiting for Raila Amolo Odinga, and who did call them where they were assembled because they were supposed to see even the oath that was going to be sworn. They hadn't seen it up to that moment. It was still with the lawyers. Both the oath for the president and the deputy president of the people, the presidential address, the protocols, the program, and other details and paraphernalia. But at some point, he did report, and if he read the article that he speaks of, that he was marooned. And he didn't indicate clearly who had marooned him or where. And as they were waiting for him to be unmarooned and join them, so that they could gravitate together to the park, as they have always done, lo and behold, he materialized at the park, and he was the one who was going to take the oath, and which was okay.
But it was a very summarized event.
Yes,
in the end.
Yes, indeed, because it is an event that was being undertaken within the context of state terror, and therefore they had to do it.
There was no police around. Police have been told to stand down.
There were policemen all over the place in plain clothes. Yeah. Yes, all over the place.
It's not fair to let this wonderful we gentlemen get away with murder. First and foremost, let's be very clear. When you talk about the People's Assembly, it is important for us to realize what is this country operating on. We are dealing with a constitution. And I've had quite a number of good friends on the other side justify why they are talking about the People's Assembly, which is the basis on which a people's president is supposedly having been sworn in. Now, one, if you look at Chapter 1 of the Constitution, which they are using, that talks about the sovereignty of the people and the supremacy of the Constitution.
We the people.
It talks about, okay, we the people, but it talks about that the people are sovereign. And by virtue of being sovereign, they determine how they're going to be governed.
Yeah.
But if you look at that Constitution, Chapter 1, it says clearly that that sovereignty of the people is being exercised, all right, by 3 institutions. And those 3 institutions are the following: the National Assembly and the county assemblies, the executive branch of government, and the judiciary. Now, if you read clearly that Constitution, it does not say that the power, the sovereign power, will be exercised by the people. No. It says it's going to be explained, it's going to be exercised by the people or by the institutions that I have mentioned. It does not say it will be exercised by the people or and all, and or. There is no alternative. No, it is or, and that or they have explained, the Constitution has explained what are those institutions that will exercise the sovereignty of the people. Now, my problem is this. Yeah. When Muluka and his tell the people that we are exercising the power donated to us by the people, they are deliberately and very consciously, and especially by this gentleman who is well read, and as he says English, he has read the Queen's English.
It's called, it's called Queen's English.
Whatever it is. Now, if the Constitution intended, yes. Listen, if you read the Constitution, if the Constitution intended that the people can exercise their sovereignty in the absence of the 3 institutions that I have mentioned, what the wording should have been that the sovereignty of the people shall be exercised by the people and or, but it is not being explained, it is being exercised by institutions. It is very clear. You read there.
You know,
the delegation of the people is delegated to the 3 institutions that I have mentioned.
Barack, go on. Now, let me hear his point.
And that's what it is.
Okay, Barack.
Are you done? Okay.
What do we have to say about it?
The Constitution, as we have read it, states very clearly that the sovereignty resides in the people. And it goes on to say that the people may exercise this sovereignty either directly or through their elected leaders. That is what the Constitution says. Now, if in the mind of the people, those who claim to be elected leaders are not elected, then the people reserve the right to exercise that sovereignty. There must be consensus in our minds that we have got elected leaders. And as this country sits today, there is a preponderant portion of the population which has questioned the election of Uhuru Kenyatta as president. To that extent, that sovereignty of the state, which is being exercised by the office of president, falls short of the expectations of the people, of their elected leaders. And that is why the people are making this pronouncement, that you may have taken the oath of office in the form and context that is provided for by law, but there is a gap of legitimacy. And we are coming here to say, while you are there and the instruments of state and power have been bequeathed to you, we still doubt the legitimacy.
Okay, you may doubt, but the highest court in the land declared Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta as president, number one.
In the end.
Yes, in the end. And just yesterday, Supreme Court, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, David Maraga, talking about people who skip their court orders should be arrested, or people should honor court orders. Oh, and NASA was quick to compliment him on yesterday's statement. and yet NASA doesn't agree with the Supreme Court's ruling of the election? Isn't that a bit of a double standard?
No, no, no. There are no double standards. There are no multiplicity of standards because first, there's been no court order from the Supreme Court telling us to stop exercising our right to expression. When we talk about the people going to Uhuru Park to do what they did, that ceremony, it is an act of expression. And that expression is protected by the Constitution right from the 32nd to the 34th articles of that Constitution.
And yet the government calls it treason.
And that expression, if I may be heard, that expression includes all manner of expression. Expression does not mean just pronouncement of words. Expression means also assembling at some venue and performing a certain ceremony, which then sends a message to certain people. And so this function here was basically and purely a statement of dissatisfaction with the arrangement.
Okay.
You did not see, finally, a footnote. You did not see Raila Odinga claiming to own the instruments of state. Did you see anybody giving him the instruments of state?
KK.
Yeah, see, the thing is this, and I think this is important. Let us make things very clear. And I want us to go to Article 1 of the Constitution. And please, for the sake of the listeners, it is important to clarify. And it says, all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this Constitution. And it says, the people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives.
Good.
Then it goes further, just a minute, then it goes further and says, the sovereign power under this Constitution is delegated to the following state organs, which shall perform their functions in accordance with this Constitution. You get what I mean? And it mentions Parliament and the legislative assemblies in the county governments. 1, 2, the national executive and the executive structures in the county government. And 3, the judiciary and the independent tribunals. Now, we have 15 counties that have come up with the so-called county assemblies. And the matter is in court right now to make for the court to make a determination whether they are constitutional or not. And I'm persuaded they will determine that they are not constitutional. But let's assume the people in those counties who are the members of the county assemblies and members of the National Assembly, if they determine that they are going to allow the county assemblies to exist, then the right thing for them to do is to resign. You cannot have the two at the same time. That is out of question. And for me, this is where I find it very hypocritical on the part of my brother here to start saying that the people can express themselves the way they want. No. Any society, anywhere in the world, is governed by an instrument called Constitution.
Yeah.
Now, if you do not want to abide by that Constitution, then what are you talking about? You are saying that this Constitution is null and void, and therefore we don't recognize it. Because whatever argument that is being propounded by my brother here, it is not anywhere provided for in the Constitution or the laws of this land.
Okay, real quick, I'm going to have to switch gears because we could talk about this all evening, and we need a couple of things to cover. And the first one is Miguna. What the way the story progressed or the way events unfolded. Barack, real quick, your thoughts?
First, that this is the highest abuse of power, that this is a Kenyan citizen whom we have recently allowed to participate in elections as a voter, as a candidate. Then suddenly, overnight, we have this brainwave, and we determine that he's not a citizen, and we bundle him away in a most shameful manner, when in fact he is the property of the courts. My good friend here is talking about the Constitution. He's talking about constitutionalism. Here is a gentleman who is before the courts and is the property of the court system, and you are given a court order to produce him, you defy it with impunity, you bundle him away. There's a sense in which we are going against the tides of times. 28 years ago, we were behaving the same way as we are doing. You remember a gentleman called Sheikh Khalid Balala?
Balala, yes.
Yeah, who was a street preacher in Mombasa. And he was one of the paragons of freedom and expansion of democracy. In those years, I have no doubt that my good brother here, Karanja Kabage, agreed with the kinds of crusades that people like him were pushing for, expansion of the democratic space. And what happened was that while he had traveled out of this country in 1994, he'd gone to Germany. The Kanu government withdrew his passport and declared that he was no longer a citizen of this country, and he got stranded and stuck out there, stateless, your own country making you stateless. And this country here could very well make Miguna stateless and make other people stateless. If an offense was committed in Uhuru Park on Monday, the 30th day of January 2018, Tuesday. It was committed, Tuesday, I beg your pardon. It was committed by Raila Amolo Odinga. So if you want to arrest those who are behind these things, go and arrest Raila Amolo Odinga. Don't start looking for small fellows around him and begin intimidating them and begin withdrawing their passports. Don't victimize the messenger, shutting down media houses, saying that they are about to transmit a felony on TV. No, that is the very height of impunity, the very height of defilement of the Constitution. And those who defile this Constitution are advised by, among others, people like my good friend here, Karanja Kabage.
KK, your thoughts on that?
I think first I want to state for record, I believe in the rule of law and the due process. And it doesn't matter whether you're my enemy or my friend. That's the first thing I want to state. However, in the case that is in the court and in the public opinion, what I understand, and I was just stating what I have understood, is that Miguna left this country in 1987. And he went to Canada, and at the time he left this country, he did not have a Kenyan passport. When he left the country, he landed in Canada. However, he landed in Canada, whoever gave him the passport, it is what is in the record. When he came back in 2009, he was issued with a passport by the then minister, Gerard Kajwang, or Gerard Otieno Kajwang. He was issued with a passport. But what I understand is that he did not follow the procedure of applying for the passport, passport. No, because what you needed to do is to realize the following. There are 4 conditions under which you as a Kenyan citizen are a citizen of this country. 1, you are a citizen by birth. Whether you are, any of your parents is a Kenyan citizen, you automatically become a Kenyan. 2, if by the time this Constitution 210 became effective, you were born outside of this country, or whatever it is, you are a citizen. 3, if you are a child of 8 years found in this country and nobody is claiming you, then you are a citizen of this country. 4th, if you are at the time of this Constitution, when it became effective, you had been a citizen of another country, but you are a Kenyan, you make an application. Remember my learned friend Miguna made the application, or rather applied, in 2009, prior to 2010 Constitution. Now, it is the 2010 Constitution that provides for you to apply to be a citizen. Before then, the Kenya Constitution did not allow for dual citizenship.
Correct. And he had to denounce his citizenship before.
Had to just a minute, not only do you denounce, but you needed to make an application. That is what is provided for. Just a minute. I'm quoting the Constitution.
Take two.
I'm talking about the Constitution.
Okay, real quick, KK.
Okay, so that is what I understand. That in this particular case that we are dealing with here, we understand that at the time of his arrest, the immigration was dealing with his case. Now, under Article 43, under Section 43 of Kenyan Citizenship and Immigration Act, it is provided that the minister can order your removal from this country.
Right.
May I
and that is what is provided.
But wait a minute. He ran for governor of Nairobi County.
Just a minute.
He was cleared to run for governor. Hold on. Barack, real quick. We're out of time.
He's gone on and on and on. And I'm actually embarrassed because I'm listening to a lawyer. The practice of law proceeds on the basis of evidence. Indeed, it proceeds on the basis of proof beyond evidence. Now here is this very senior learned lawyer who is addressing the Kenyan nation and the world on the basis of rumors and hearsay. Ask him where he has seen this documentation that he's quoting as authorities to justify the expulsion of a citizen from his country, and he'll tell you he has not seen a single document. He's proceeding on the basis of pronouncements that have been made by people who sit in high offices somewhere, abusing the powers of those offices. And it is very unfortunate that we can come here and use that as a basis and as bundles of communication to justify what has happened to Miguna. Let us not be speculative about this, because he does not have the facts. He does not have the facts.
Interior Cabinet Secretary.
And he should not lead the country. Okay?
So Matiang'i signing that deportation no order.
Matiang'i is just being draconian. He's just abusing the powers of his office. And a future government that is going to be democratic and responsible is going to catch up with Matiang'i someday to come. His damnation slumbereth not.
Jeff,
yes.
I think it is very important. I have quoted an act.
Yes, but you have not seen Miguna's papers. Have you seen the papers?
Listen.
Have you seen the application?
Yes, have you seen yourself?
I have not seen.
Okay, if you have not seen, I am quoting a statute. Listen, I am
forget about the statutes.
No.
He's talking about an application, a material document that is supposed to be lodged with the state. And he's saying that that material document, which was administered by a person who is dead and who therefore cannot speak for himself, was done in the year 2009. I put it to him that Miguna was in fact in this country in 2007, if he has forgotten. He did not come back in 2009. And I put it to him that I was given a certificate of good conduct, that he participated in the elections here.
He ran for governor.
And he ran for governor. And if these flaws were there, then they speak to the weaknesses of this state.
Yeah, I guess we haven't seen the end of this story, gentlemen. We're pretty much out of time, but I got to ask you this question that someone just posed right now. Barack, this is for you. The controversy surrounding your position. The
controversy surrounding my position, yes, there is a controversy that once I was appointed to the office of Secretary General, there were people who did not feel happy about it, and they are before the court. It is being processed before the court system. I'm just a little surprised that some people have elected to prosecute the same through the media, and every day they are moving from post to pillar and from pillar to post, vilifying me and saying horrendous things. I have advised myself as a noble gentleman to refrain from taking them on in the media, because that matter will not be resolved through the media. It will be resolved through the legal channels and processes. And so I will allow them to determine the matter one way or the other. Yeah. If the courts determine that I'm there wrongly, I will honorably relinquish that position and allow other people to proceed. I see no need for vitriolic exchanges with people over a very simple matter whose channels of resolution exist.
Absolutely. Well, you nailed that one. Gentlemen, I can't let you go. Monica, just one more question, if you don't mind. I think it was Mark Twain. You were quoting Mark Twain a moment ago, yes, referring to the kind of premature declaration of the death of Jimmy Wanjigi. What did Mark Twain say, Barack?
Mark Twain said that the rumors about my death have been exaggerated.
That was Mark Twain, whose real name was?
Samuel Clemens.
Isn't that the line Jimmy Wanjigi should have used?
Yeah, he didn't ask me. I would have.
Well, that story, we haven't seen the end of that either. Gentlemen, we're going to have to call it a night. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been great. I wish we had more time. KK, Karanja Kabage, thanks for your time. Barack, Muluka, as always, good luck. Thank you so much. Gentlemen, appreciate that. Thanks, KK.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for being a part of Opinion Court tonight. Keep tweeting. I apologize I wasn't able to read your tweets, but time just flew. Now that we're back on air. Keep tweeting at Karanja Kabage, at Barack M, at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag Opinion Court. Thanks so much for being a part of it. Thanks so much for returning to Citizen Television, the most comprehensive network broadcaster anywhere around. Thanks for watching. Good night. Good night. God bless.